the opportunities or best practices as Incarcarated Fathers. 10 years ago, I got onto this by some guidance or door that opened, and I was really impacted by it. That this is a group of men who deserve this, who need it, and potentially really change in dramatic ways by being involved in a program like this. Since then, we've had a whole lot of experience and collected a whole lot of data, different institutions in different places, but I wanted a few of the people around the room who have used this in incarcerated settings of any kind, just to say a few words about how it works and any...
But where do you get the funding for it?
Interestingly, for us, our funding comes directly from the department. When I say us, I mean Milwaukee Fatherhood Initiative. It comes from the Department of Corrections itself, because each institution on the local level, if you will, be it a halfway house, pre-release center, they have control over just some discretionary funding. And if your budget is anywhere under $5,000, $4,999, they can do it. They can contract directly with you as opposed to putting it out to bid.
Right.
So we keep our contract under $5,000 with DOC on the smaller scale.
Is that per section?
That's per 13-week session.
Okay.
Yeah, it's per 13-week session. And for me, I always have to tell this prison story with respect to working with inmates, because I enjoy working with inmates the most myself, because you know that group will be there when you get there. We had a unique situation between two halfway houses where we did half of a 13-week session in one halfway house and the rest in graduation in another one. And guys who got out before the 13-week session was over with, they could come back in if they wanted to and complete the session. One guy, he had been there the whole time, he had gotten released. He had been coming back, and I think we were into week 5 or week 6, and he didn't show up. He got there late. We asked him what happened, and ironically, that was the same week I brought my wife in to provide a female perspective to the whole program. And he said that he had forgotten something at home, went back home to pick it up, and had found his girl in the house with another guy. I found it incredibly amazing that of all of the places and things that he could have done, he came back to a prison environment to talk about this traumatic experience he just had at home. He came back behind the walls to come because of the camaraderie that is established over the weeks. You know, I mean, those initial weeks where everybody's feeling each other out like boxers, we'd gotten through that. And we were into those solid weeks where the men are actually sharing with each other, and the camaraderie had been built, and the guy came back into the prison to get some advice on what he should do, because he just caught his woman with another man at home.
Right.
And you know, those guys, and I had to call Mark and tell him about this guy who was actually sending the homework activities home through the mail while he was incarcerated, and would do them over the phone with his girlfriend, and then they would gauge their 3-year-old's activities and advancement, you know, over the 13 weeks. He just graduated about 3-4 months ago. It was just awesome, and to actually end up talking to her and hear her talk about the changes that she could literally hear in her boyfriend over the phone was just awesome, man.
And if I could just say, we in the prison, we started doing the cost share. So letting them know exactly how much the program costs. So this year, Ludlow ended up picking up the books and the coffee. But we went in there at first and did a free program so they could see everything. Because again, you gotta show them the product.
Yeah.
You know, and as soon as they started seeing change with the men, they were like, how can we then assist? And of course, they paid for the class.
Yeah.
But you know, that's asking for a lot. But I was like, all right, so break it down. And they're like, you wanna, we'll definitely pick up the books this year.
Yeah.
So then now we're going back in there to do it again, and see if we could do a little bit more, and
So having one session as a freebie.
always gotta, we've learned a lot, and it's always doing that one freebie, just so they can see what
Like
they're
they're
working
thinking
with.
about.
They close you right there. Girls, do you have?
Yeah, we have, it's gonna be our 7th or 8th father workshop within the correction system in Daytona. And we were able to get in because of a donation we had with another county program. And a judge decided to create a program for young inmates. She's calling it the I'm Ready program, and that is for young guys from 19 to 24, first offenders, and it's a boot camp. And she was very interested in seeing how they can be really helped. They knew about us, they invited us. And we're doing that, and it's been a great experience. It's also a very small budget, and we should be charging more, but anyway.
Right.
We feel that for us, this is not, like I said at the beginning, for us, this is extremely important.
Right.
Talk about whether we're getting 1,000 more, 1,000 less.
Yeah.
There's several things I wanted to mention. One, Corey mentioned the difficulty of getting in to begin with. And
Right.
sometimes you've got to have some jacknacity to be going back all the, if you're not going back constantly talking to somebody about it, you're off the radar screen. And be aware that they have some, even though there's not as many programs in prisons as there used to be, they still have these guys fairly regimented, so you've got to be flexible. And we've gotten to where we're happy to go in twice a week. If that works with their schedule, we'll do that. And then the third thing I would mention around funding is, these are dads that, low income primarily, they're not working, and whatever little bit they might be making, that's not that big a deal, but they're TANF eligible. If their families aren't receiving TANF, they're at least TANF eligible, and we leverage our TANF resources to go in and provide the services. So that it's a win-win. We're getting that connection with the dad before he comes out, but the correctional facility, they don't have to pay anything. We provide all of the stuff and use TANF sources to pay for it.
And very much, when you talk about funding, very much like the whole discussion on nurturing fathers over these 2 days, you start in the local place, possibly your jail, possibly your local prison. They have money for what they call now, used to be called rehabilitation, but now it's programs. Everything's programs. So instead of warehousing guys, they want programs to make a difference, which is great. That's what we've been saying all along. So there is money there, but then you can go to the state level, the Department of Corrections, or juvenile corrections. There's money there. It's a more cumbersome process, but they can do it on a larger level. They're doing it in the whole western half of North Carolina, and if they had the funds, they'd like to spread it to the eastern, because there's no doubt in their mind that it's working there. And then there's the federal prisons and the federal system. It's obviously more cumbersome. But that's where Corey started. Corey and Des offered it for free one time, and the prison administration is so impressed